Hey guys, welcome back to the Parkerverse. Continuing with our look at the brand new Pixel 8, this week I thought we'll take a quick dive into the raw power of the Tensor Gen 3 chip, comparing it to last year's model within the Pixel 7 in an all-out rapid fire speed test to see exactly which one is the fastest Pixel and if the brand new chip really is worth the money. So let's kick things off with a simple boot test to see which one starts up the fastest. Now on paper, there is a minor clock speed difference between the two, with the Pixel 8 bringing a higher top end clock speed as well as slightly lower bottom end efficiency cores. But here with the Pixel 8 finishing first, I'm actually not surprised at all, as the Gen 3 chip actually has a step up in core count, taking it from last year's 8 core setup to now the Gen 3's 9, which throughout this test should give the Pixel 8 the biggest lead. But let's continue and find out. Now with our phones booted, let's unlock them and let's see which one finishes the startup processes first. Wow, that was actually quite fast. Okay, so that's 2-0 to the Pixel 8. Now I'm sure there's no way the Pixel 8 is going to wipe the floor with the Pixel 7, right? Well, let's find out. Oh, and for those of you wondering, all of these live wallpapers here are from my very own custom live wallpaper app, Epic Live Wallpapers, which you can find on the Play Store. So now that we have that self plugin out the way, let's look at some fingerprint unlocking. Now here with the first unlock, the Pixel 8 does come ahead. However, with both phones using the exact same optical fingerprint scanners, realistically there shouldn't really be a difference. So how about we repeat this test 12 times to find out exactly if there is a true difference between the two phones and if that victory from the first unlock was pure fluke. So there you have it, with 4 victories and 8 draws, the Pixel 8 comes out on top. Now here, just take this with a grain of salt, because even though the Pixel 8 did technically win, it was literally a hair-thin victory. So now that we have that out the way, let's move on to the main event. Let's fly through these apps, starting with some of Google's native apps, followed by some of the most popular third-party apps, games, and finally finishing things off, for those of you who are a bit more tech savvy, a couple benchmarks. Alright, so enough of my ramblings, let's jump right into it with the native apps. First up, we have the phone app, and it's a drawer. Now for messages, a drawer again. Now something with a bit more data behind it, Chrome. The Pixel 8 ahead again just by a hair thread, but realistically so far with these apps, that 9th core really hasn't made a difference at all. Now as for the camera, I do have to give it to the Pixel 8, as all of the indicators appeared well before the 7s. Now as we move on to the social media apps, I do have to mention that both phones are on the exact same Wi-Fi network, so the network speed shouldn't really be a variable at all. So now with Facebook, and it's a draw. And next, TikTok, the Pixel 8 decimates, with the 7 clearly lacking behind. Now as with Instagram, despite loading up the app logo at the same time, when it came to the feed itself, it was really clear who the winner was. And finally, wrapping up the social media apps, we have Discord, where once again the Pixel 8 comes out on top. Now let's move on to a couple other apps that we love to use on our phones, starting with emails. Draw. Next up, Google's very own YouTube, the Pixel 7, quite surprising. Now for the #1 music streaming service, Spotify. And we're back to a draw. Now for something a bit lightweight, the Speed Test app. And while we're here, we might as well run a quick speed test. Now this I found very interesting, with the Pixel 7 only hitting 26.3 megabytes and the 8 hitting up to 61. Both are connected on the exact same network, yet there's still somehow a massive difference in speed. Now just off the top of my head, it could be that the network is prioritizing certain packets over others, which seems to be translating over into this phone speed difference. Or more likely, Google have updated the Pixel 8's modem, not to be faster, but simply more reliable, because in the second test, the numbers are very close. Now I'm not too sure which one it could be, but personally I always found that the Pixel 7 was ever so slightly spotty when it came to signal. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Now let's move on to our 4 games where the Pixel 8 really should continue to shine. With an upgraded GPU, the Pixel 7 really shouldn't stand a chance. So let's kick things off with Real Racing 3. Yeah, so I mean the bar's not spinning, so I guess it's a game optimization issue. Alright, here we go. With the loading bar finally moving, surprisingly enough, the Pixel 7 actually loads the game quicker. But having said that, when we actually try to load up a level, the Pixel 8 is once again on top. Saying that, because it did actually load the app quicker, the Pixel 7 takes it. Now how about a 2D puzzler, Traffic Escape? Once again, surprisingly, just like Real Racing 3, this one goes to the Pixel 7. Alright, jumping back into another 3D intensive game, Subway Surfer. Here, the Pixel 8 finally takes the lead, finishing noticeably ahead of the Pixel 7. However, when we actually tap to play the game, both of them play seamlessly. And now finishing the round off, another super basic game, Tower Jump. The winner, Pixel 8. So in this round, for gaming, both phones are even at 2-2. Now before we conclude, let's wrap things up with a couple benchmarks to see the raw power behind both of the Tensor chips. Starting with 3D Mark's Intensive Wildlife benchmark. So with the scores in, the Pixel 8 is over 2000 higher than the Pixel 7's, which translates over to an average of 10 FPS higher. And as we scroll further down under performance monitoring, it's clear to see the 8 also ran slightly cooler as well. Alright, hands down the Pixel 8 wanted that benchmark, but how about if we head over to Geekbench 6, where the scores here are a lot more closer. Regardless, the Pixel 8 still comes out on top. So the Pixel 8 is definitely better than the 7, but is it really worth the upgrade? Honestly, I think if you're a Pixel 7 user, definitely hold out for another year or so, whereas if you actually have something a bit older, definitely jump over to the Pixel 8. It's a much more refined Pixel experience, especially compared to the 6 and 7, but maybe wait for the price to come down a little, at least on the second-hand market. Now if you guys like this video and want to see more like this, Android customization tips and tricks, as well as home screen setups, make sure to like and subscribe. See you guys next time on Into the Parkerverse.